My dad has a secret family. I found out at my sister's wedding. I don't even know where to start with this, because I feel like my entire family just fell through a trapdoor I didn't know existed. Let me rewind a bit. I, 28M, have a younger sister, Jess, 26F, who just got married last weekend. She and her husband, Mason, did a whole fancy winery wedding about 2 hours outside the city. Everything was Pinterest perfect, string lights, rustic archway, all that jazz. I was one of the groomsmen. Everyone was beaming. Our family isn't huge. It's just me, Jess, and our parents, mom and dad, together 30 plus years. Classic middle-class crew. Dad's the quiet type. Hardworking, dependable, a little awkward at parties. Mom's more outgoing, runs the room. They were both pretty emotional about the wedding, which felt sweet, even if Dad seemed kind of tense. But I didn't think anything of it until the reception. That's when I saw her. There was this woman, mid-40s, dark hair, sharp features, standing near the back of the reception tent, holding a wineglass like she was part of the party, but not really engaging with anyone. She wasn't dressed like a caterer, and I didn't recognize her from any of Jess's friends or Mason's family. At one point, she looked at me. Held my gaze. Then gave this little nod, almost like, yeah, you don't know, do you? I would have brushed it off. But then a kid ran up to her. A boy, maybe 10? Dark hair, my eyes. He tugged her sleeve and said, "Can I go say hi to Dad now?" I swear time slowed down. She whispered something back to him and looked over right at my father. Dad was standing by the bar, talking with Uncle Vince. Laughing. Totally unaware that his double life was crumbling 30 feet away. I couldn't breathe. I made my way to the woman. I don't even remember what I said. Something like, "Hey, I don't think we've met. Are you a friend of the groom?" She tilted her head. "No. I'm family." I asked, "How exactly?" She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'm Daniel's other wife." After she said it, "I'm Daniel's other wife," there was this moment where I honestly thought I'd misheard her. Or she was making a sick joke. But she just stood there, sipping wine like she'd been waiting years to say those words. I think I said something like, "What the hell are you talking about?" She didn't flinch. Just nodded toward the kid, who was now chasing bubbles near the gift table. "That's our son. His name is Caleb. Daniel's his father. Yours too, I'm guessing?" I was frozen. My brain couldn't process it all at once. This woman, who said her name was Lena, by the way, was calm. Too calm. She explained, like she was filling me in on a mildly awkward family reunion, that she and Dad had been together for about 12 years. 12. That he traveled a lot for work, and they mostly saw him on weekends or when he was on assignment. I asked her, probably louder than I should have, "So you just showed up here? At his daughter's wedding?" She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I didn't come to cause trouble. But I figured if he wasn't going to tell the truth, someone should." Then she shrugged. "Besides, Jess deserves to know who's giving her away." I couldn't speak. Before I could fully register it, Dad saw us talking. His whole body stiffened. And then, he bolted. I'm not kidding. The man literally walked away from the bar mid-conversation and slipped out the side of the tent like some shady politician caught in a scandal. I followed him. Of course I did. Caught up to him near the parked cars out back. He was fumbling with his keys, shaking. I'd never seen him like that before. I said, "Dad. Who the hell is she?" And all he said was, "It's not what you think." Classic. I yelled. I didn't mean to, but I did. I said, "You have a whole other kid? You brought your side family to Jess's wedding? Are you out of your mind?" He looked like he aged 10 years in that moment. Face pale. Jaw tight. And then he said something that floored me even more than Lena had. I never wanted to lie. But I couldn't lose both lives. Like they were equally real. Equally his. I don't remember what I said after that. It's a blur. I walked away. Went back into the tent like a robot. Jess was giving her speech when I sat down. Smiling. Glowing. No idea what just detonated behind the scenes. Lena and Caleb were gone. I made it through the rest of Jess's wedding with a fake smile plastered to my face like a hostage in a toothpaste commercial. I watched her dance with Mason, do the father-daughter dance with him. The man who just an hour earlier admitted he'd been living a double life and didn't even deny it. I kept thinking, does he feel guilt? Regret? Anything? Or was he just thinking about which bed he was sleeping in that night? He slipped back into the reception at some point, cool as a cucumber. Mom didn't seem to notice anything was off. I studied her face all night, looking for some hint that she knew. She didn't. Or she's a better actress than I ever gave her credit for. After the sparkler exit and hugs and tears and champagne-soaked goodbyes, I stayed back to help clean up. It gave me an excuse to avoid Dad. He avoided me, too, until we were both taking folding chairs to the storage shed behind the venue. He said, "I know you hate me right now." I said, "You're right." He nodded. Like he'd earned it. I asked, "How long were you going to keep this going? Until your funeral? Were we just going to meet your other kid at the wake?" He winced. Then he finally told me the truth, or what I hope is the full truth. He met Lena 13 years ago on a work trip. They stayed in touch. It was supposed to be a temporary thing. But feelings grew. She got pregnant. He panicked. Told her he couldn't leave his family, but he wanted to be there in some way for the kid. So he built a second life. Weekend conferences. Last-minute client meetings. Birthday dinners missed. Recitals. Holidays cut short. We thought it was all work-related. He was just spreading himself thinner and thinner between two versions of himself. He said Lena never pushed him to leave us. She was complicated, but not malicious. She respected the arrangement until Jess's wedding. That was the line. Seeing him play the perfect father for another daughter while hers was sitting quietly at the back of the tent? That's what snapped it. I was wrong, he said. I'd been wrong for a long time. No argument there. Then he said something I haven't stopped thinking about since. But you're the only one who knows. You choose what happens now. Like he was handing me the detonator. I didn't sleep that night. I kept hearing Dad's voice in my head, you choose what happens now. Like this was some kind of noble burden he'd passed down, like a cursed heirloom. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate the trauma. The morning after the wedding, we all met for brunch at the Little Inn Jess and Mason were staying at. Family only. Casual, sleepy, everyone in hangover hoodies and sunglasses. Jess was glowing, laughing about how she accidentally stepped on her new father-in-law's foot during the cha-cha slide. Mom was bragging about the chocolate fountain. Dad? Smiling. Silent. Drinking black coffee like he didn't set a grenade on a timer the night before. I watched him act like nothing happened. He even gave Jess a card and a small blue velvet box, my grandmother's bracelet. Something Mom had always said she wanted Jess to wear on her wedding day, but Dad said it had been lost. Apparently it was never lost. Just sitting in the jewelry box of his other wife. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the mimosa pitcher across the room and yell, "You're all being conned." But I didn't. I smiled. I toasted with everyone else. I gave Jess a hug so long she asked if I was okay. I said I was just proud of her. Which was true. And false. Because underneath that pride was a sick pit of dread. After brunch, I pulled Mom aside. We were loading leftover centerpieces into the car. I said, "Hey, can I ask you something? Hypothetically, if Dad had done something big, something bad, but it didn't involve you directly, would you want to know?" She raised an eyebrow. What kind of bad are we talking here? I hesitated. Then chickened out. Said, just, like, betrayal. Of trust. Not illegal. Just really personal. She stared at me for a long second. Then said, if it affected the people I love? Yeah. I'd want to know. Even if it ruined me. Then she gave me this look. This knowing, almost tired look. And said, is there something you're not telling me? I panicked. I laughed it off. Said I'd been watching too many true crime podcasts and it was messing with my head. She didn't fully buy it, but she let it go. For now. Now I'm sitting here, alone in my apartment, staring at 2 photos on my phone. One is from the wedding, Jess and Dad, arms around each other, beaming. The other is from earlier that day, Lena and Caleb, standing outside the tent. He's looking up at her like she's his whole world. And the most screwed up thing? They both look like families. It's weird how normal life feels while your entire reality is silently imploding. The last few days have been this surreal mix of pretending everything's okay, going to work, texting my friends back, even liking Jess's honeymoon photos on Instagram while I walk around carrying a secret that could literally dismantle my family. I tried writing a message to Dad, telling him it was time. Time to tell Mom. Time to face Jess. But every time I typed something out, I deleted it. Cowardly? Maybe. But also, I feel like if this thing comes out the wrong way, it could destroy more than it fixes. So I decided to test something. I texted Caleb. Yeah. The kid. My half-brother. I still had the number Lena gave me scribbled on a napkin after our weird little conversation at the wedding. I don't know what I was expecting, maybe it was a burner, or she gave it to me just to feel like she'd done her part. But I texted him. Hey. I think we might be related. I'm Daniel's other kid. 5 minutes later, he replied. I know who you are. I just sat there, staring at the message. He sent another right after. My mom told me everything. Said someday you might talk to me. That I shouldn't be mad at you. You didn't do anything wrong. I asked him if he was okay. He said, I don't know. I just want to meet my sister someday. She looks nice. That nearly broke me. Because Caleb's just a kid. He didn't ask to be born into this tangled mess. Neither did Jess. Neither did I. But here we are, 3 people tied to a man who didn't think the truth was something we deserved. I haven't answered yet. I don't know what to say to a kid who shares half my DNA but none of my memories. But here's what I do know. This can't stay buried. Dad's time is up. So I texted him one last time. You have 48 hours to tell them. Both of them. Or I will. He didn't reply. But I saw the read receipt. Tick, tick. The 48-hour deadline came and went. No text. No call. Nothing from Dad. I waited. I told myself maybe he was building up the courage. Maybe he'd show up at Mom's, sit her down, own it like an actual adult. Or maybe he'd tell Jess first, try to salvage something with his daughter before she found out from someone else. But nope. Radio silence. I even drove past their house yesterday. Dad's car was in the driveway. Lights on in the kitchen. Life, continuing. Like nothing was hanging above them like a freaking anvil. So I did what I said I would. I started with Mom. We met for lunch at this cafe she loves, Neutral Ground. She was in full post-wedding glow, showing me photos of Jess and Mason parasailing in Cabo. I let her finish her cappuccino before I said, as gently as I could. I need to tell you something. It's about Dad. Her smile didn't fade immediately. Just sort of settled into something unreadable. She put her spoon down slowly. What kind of something? I said, he's been seeing someone else. For over a decade. She blinked. Once. Twice. Then said, "Is this about Lena?" I swear, my soul left my body. "You knew?" She sighed. Sighed. Like someone finally admitting to themselves they've known the truth all along. I didn't have proof. But, yes. I've suspected for years, she said. The work trips. The excuses. He stopped looking me in the eye when I asked questions. She wasn't crying. Just tired. Worn. Then she asked, "How bad is it?" So I told her. Everything. Lena. Caleb. The wedding. The bracelet. And that Dad bailed the second he saw them, like a coward. I told her how he put the weight of the truth on me, like this was mine to clean up. She just nodded. Took it in. Said, "I always wondered if there were other kids." And then she said something I didn't expect. "Thank you. For telling me before Jess found out another way." That hit me. Because now it was time for Jess. I drove straight to her place. Mason wasn't home, which was good. I didn't want an audience. She opened the door and hugged me before I could say anything. "Hey! Did you see our parasailing pics?" I think I screamed louder than the boat engine. I said, "Jess. We need to talk. About Dad." That's when her smile cracked. She stared at me for a second, then sat down like her legs gave out. "Okay. Just, tell me." I don't know how I said it all. I just did. A slow, horrible download of secrets she never asked for. She didn't interrupt. Barely blinked. When I finally said, "He has another son," she whispered, "How old?" 10. She closed her eyes. Then, quietly, "I was 16 when he missed my choir solo. Said his flight got delayed." Silence. Then she asked the worst question of all. "Is he happy with them?" I didn't know what to say. I said I didn't think he even knew. She didn't cry in front of me. But her hands were shaking. She thanked me for being honest. Said she needed space. I told her I'd give her all the space she wanted. I left her sitting on the couch with her wedding bouquet still drying on the windowsill. It's been 5 days since I told them. Mom. Jess. 5 days since I ripped the mask off my father and waited for the fallout. Still nothing from him. No calls. No texts. No knock on the door. Not even a pathetic, "I can explain." He just vanished into silence. Like a man who dropped a lit match into a haystack and walked away before it burned. I know he's not gone. He's still at the house. Still going to work, probably still walking the dog, paying bills, putting on that bland, dependable dad routine like it's not just a costume now. But he hasn't faced us. Not once. I've checked in on Mom every day. She's holding it together in that terrifying way people do when they're trying not to feel anything. She's sleeping on the couch because the bedroom's too warm. She said she's not ready to confront him yet. I don't blame her. Jess, though, she's a different story. She called me last night at 1:13 a.m. I know the exact time because I'd just finally fallen asleep and the ring scared me upright. Her voice was quiet, clipped. "Did you know he still sends them money?" My stomach turned. No. How do you know? She said she hacked into his email. Apparently she guessed the password. Something stupid, his favorite baseball team and the year Jess was born. Classic. Inside were years of wire transfer receipts. Gifts. Messages from Lena. Dozens of photos of Caleb at school plays, soccer games, birthdays, all the things he never showed us. He told me he couldn't afford to help me with college loans, she said, voice shaking. And he was sending them money the whole time. She hung up before I could respond. I went over this morning. She was packing up a cardboard box in the garage labeled Dad's stuff. Sweatshirts, gifts, old cards, a pair of cufflinks she gave him in high school that he wore to every important event. She was just loading it all in. No emotion. Just motion. I asked if she was okay. She said, no. But I'm functional. Then she handed me something from the box. A framed photo of the four of us, Mom, Dad, Jess, and me, on the pier in Cannon Beach. 2007, pre-Caleb. Pre-chaos. She said. I want to remember the version of him that didn't lie. I took it, but it felt like it weighed 50 pounds. I finally cracked and texted Dad. You gonna hide forever or face what you've done? No response. But 2 hours later, I got an email from Lena. Lena. Subject line, for what it's worth. It was short. I never wanted this to blow up like it did. I thought he was going to tell you all before the wedding. I told him I would walk away if he didn't. He begged me to let him keep the secret a little longer. I regret agreeing. I never wanted Caleb to grow up in the middle of this. Please don't blame him. He's a good kid. He deserves a brother who sees him as more than a mistake. I haven't replied. I don't know what I'd even say. But I keep rereading that last line. He deserves a brother who sees him as more than a mistake. I met Caleb today. After everything, after the wedding, the secrets, the silence, he was the only one who didn't ask for any of this, and I couldn't stop thinking about that line from Lena's email. He deserves a brother who sees him as more than a mistake. So I reached out. I didn't go through Lena. I texted Caleb directly. Hey. Want to get ice cream or something? He replied almost instantly. Yeah. That'd be cool. We met at this little park halfway between his place and mine. I got there early, not sure what to expect. Was I supposed to be a brother? A stranger? Some awkward adult trying to make peace with a walking reminder of betrayal? But then he showed up. Hoodie, backpack, scuffed sneakers. He looked like any other kid. Except when he smiled, he looked exactly like Dad. And somehow, that didn't make me angry. It just made me feel tired. We sat on a bench eating soft serve like it wasn't the weirdest day of our lives. Talked about his school, video games, this dog he wants to adopt that his mom keeps saying no to. Normal kid stuff. Stuff I should have known about already. After a while, he got quiet. Then he said, "Is Jess mad at me?" I nearly choked on my cone. No, bud. Not even close. She's mad at the situation. Not you. He nodded. She seems nice. I told him she is. Then, I don't know why, but I pulled out my phone and showed him that Cannon Beach photo, the one from 2007 Jess gave me. He leaned in close, squinting. Is that you? He asked. Yeah. That was a long time ago. He paused, then whispered, I wish I was there, too. And that's when I lost it. I didn't cry. Not fully. But something cracked in me. This ache I'd been holding in finally shifted. Because yeah, I wish he'd been there too. I wish this whole thing had been different. I wish we didn't have to untangle love from lies, or pick sides in a war none of us started. But I looked at him and said, you're here now. That's what matters. He smiled again. And I swear, for the first time in weeks, something settled in me. As for Dad? Still no word. I don't know if he'll ever face what he's done. I don't know if he even can. Jess says she's done with him unless he shows up with something more than apologies. Mom says she's not making any decisions yet, but she's meeting with a lawyer just to know her options. Me? I'm done waiting on him. I'm building my family forward from the ones who choose to show up. Even if that means starting over with a 10-year-old brother and a big, awkward silence where a father used to be.